Admiral Taemin stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, watching the screens with tired eyes. He had seen this before, too many times before. The red dots on the display showed enemy ships jumping into Earth's space, heading straight for the orbital farms above Jakarta. 17 years of this. 17 years of watching aliens attack his home while Earth tried to stay peaceful. "Sir, they're targeting the civilian platforms again," the sensor officer reported. His voice shook a little. "Same as always." Taemin nodded slowly. The Vrel raiders always did this. They would come, steal what they wanted, destroy what they couldn't carry, and leave. Earth would defend, evacuate people, and try not to kill too many attackers. The politicians called it restraint. The admiral called it something else, but he kept that to himself. Captain Wu Jin's voice crackled over the communication channel. "Admiral, the Resolve is in position. We can intercept before they reach the farms. Request permission to engage with full weapons." "Negative, Captain," Taemin replied, the words bitter in his mouth. "Standard defensive protocols only. Protect the civilians, disable their weapons if possible, minimal casualties on their side." There was a pause. Wu Jin was young, still angry about the rules. "Sir, we could end this right now. My ship alone could take out half their fleet before they knew what hit them." "Follow your orders, Captain." Taemin watched the battle unfold like a sad dance he had memorized. Earth's ships moved into position, their advanced sensors tracking every enemy vessel. The Vrel ships were slower, their weapons less accurate, their shields weaker. Any military analyst could see the truth. Earth's technology was better, much better. But Earth didn't use it, not really. The Resolve fired warning shots, then disabled 2 Vrel fighters with precise hits to their engine cores. The civilian transports began evacuating, their emergency lights blinking like frightened stars. Most would make it. Most, but not all. A Vrel cruiser ignored the warnings and fired on a transport full of families. The ship broke apart in silence, the explosion blooming orange against the black. 300 people gone in a second. Wu Jin destroyed the Vrel cruiser immediately, but it was too late. It was always too late. "Sir, they're broadcasting," the communications officer said. Taemin knew what was coming. "Put it through." The Vrel commander appeared on screen. His name was Thane, a veteran raider who had hit Earth dozens of times. He looked like a mixture of reptile and insect, with 4 eyes that gleamed with contempt. His translator made his voice sound almost human, which somehow made it worse. "Inferior species," Thane said, his mandibles clicking. "You have nothing we cannot take. Submit or perish slowly. Your choice means nothing." The transmission cut off. The Vrel fleet grabbed what cargo they could carry and jumped away. They always left before Earth could organize a real counterattack. They always escaped. Taemin could have stopped them. He had weapons that could track ships through jump space. He had missiles that moved at a fraction of light speed. He had hunter drones that could follow the Vrel home and end them while they slept. But his orders were clear. Defend only. Never pursue. Never escalate. Show the galaxy that Earth was civilized. "Sir, should we pursue?" Wu Jin asked, hope in his voice. "Negative. Let them go. Begin rescue operations." The admiral turned away from the screens and walked to his office. He had reports to write, families to notify, another politician to explain to why restraint was important. He was so tired of explaining. Dr. Hai-Jin found him 3 hours later staring at casualty lists. She was the chief xenolinguist, the person who handled all contact with alien species. She had translated 1,000 messages of peace. None of them had worked. "I found something," she said quietly, closing the door behind her. "In the Galactic Communication Networks." Taemin looked up. "More threats?" "No. Analysis. I've been reading what other species say about us when they think we're not listening." She put a data pad on his desk. "They've categorized every known civilization by threat level. We're listed as passive, defensive, low threat, safe to exploit." The Admiral felt something cold settle in his stomach. Safe to exploit. Every species that showed military restraint got the same label, Haye-Jin continued, and every one of them eventually got conquered or destroyed. The galaxy doesn't respect peace, Tae-min. It respects power. They think we're weak. We're not weak. I know, you know, but they don't know. They think our restraint means we can't fight back. They think we're easy prey. She paused. The Vrel are planning something bigger. I intercepted their military communications. They're calling other raiders, forming a coalition. They want to take Earth's orbital industry entirely. They're coming with everything they have. Tae-min stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Earth turned slowly, blue and green and beautiful. 17 years of trying to be better than the monsters. 17 years of hoping the galaxy would learn from their example. 17 years of losing people while playing by rules that no one else followed. "Call the United Earth Council," he said finally. "Emergency session. We need to talk about what peace actually costs." Haye-Jin nodded and left. Tae-min stayed at the window, watching his world turn. He thought about Wu Jin's question, the one the young captain asked after every battle. "Sir, why don't we show them what we can really do?" Maybe it was time for an answer. Maybe it was time for the galaxy to learn what humanity had been holding back. Maybe courtesy had run its course. The Admiral pulled up the classified files on Earth's weapons systems, the ones they never used, the ones built just in case. He read through them slowly, and for the first time in years, he smiled. It was not a kind smile. Outside his window, Earth kept turning, unaware that everything was about to change. The United Earth Council chamber was built to hold 500 delegates. Today, every seat was filled. Representatives from every nation, every orbital colony, every settlement on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. They had all seen the casualty reports from Jakarta. They had all read Dr. Haye-Jin's intelligence analysis. They all knew what was coming. Admiral Tae-min stood at the central podium, his uniform crisp, but his face showing the weight of 17 years. Behind him, holographic displays showed Earth's true military capabilities. Weapons that had been kept secret, locked away, forbidden. "For 17 years, he began, "we have shown restraint. We have defended our people with minimal force. We have tried to prove to the galaxy that civilization means choosing peace over violence. And for 17 years, they have called us weak. They have called us prey. They have killed our children and laughed." The chamber was silent. Every eye was on him. The Vrel are coming back. Their entire confederation, plus mercenaries from 6 other species. They plan to take our orbital infrastructure by force. They expect us to run or surrender. They think we have no choice. He paused. They're wrong. Commander Yunbi stepped forward. She ran the Special Weapons Division, a department that officially didn't exist. She was small, quiet, and had designed 17 different ways to destroy a warship. Her hands didn't shake as she activated the display. "This is a railgun platform," she said, pointing to a sleek orbital station. "It can fire a projectile at 40% light speed. One shot can punch through any known shield and hull combination. We have 200 of these platforms positioned throughout the solar system. We've never fired them in combat." The display changed. "These are quantum disruption mines. They destabilize the energy fields that alien shields use. Once deployed, enemy shields become useless. We have 50,000 mines in storage." Another image. "Hunter-killer drones, AI-guided, faster than any manned fighter, coordinated by quantum-linked networks. Each one can disable a cruiser. We have 20,000 ready to deploy." She continued for 10 minutes, showing weapon after weapon. each one more devastating than the last, each one built in secret, tested in secret, stored away while Earth's people died. A delegate from Brazil stood up. "Why?" she demanded. "Why did we build all this and never use it? My city was hit 4 times. Thousands dead. And we had this the whole time?" Tae-min met her eyes. "Because once we start, we can't pretend anymore. The galaxy will know what we are, what we can do. Every species will see us differently. We wanted to be the peaceful ones, the civilized ones. We wanted to prove that intelligence means more than violence." "And how did that work?" the delegate shot back. "It didn't," Tae-min admitted. "We were wrong. The galaxy doesn't respect peace. It respects strength, and it's time we showed them strength." The vote took 3 hours. Debate raged back and forth. Some argued for continuing the peaceful approach. Others demanded immediate revenge. In the end, the decision was clear. Protocol clarity passed with 147 votes in favor, 3 against. Earth would send 1 warning, 1 chance for the Vrel to stop. After that, humanity would fight without limits. Dr. Hyojin spent 2 days composing the message. She wrote it in 17 languages, including every dialect the Vrel used. She made it simple, clear, and absolute. No room for misunderstanding, no diplomatic softness. Lieutenant Yuna delivered it personally. She was young, chosen because her voice was steady and her eyes were hard. She stood in the communications center, surrounded by enough broadcasting power to reach every corner of known space, and spoke humanity's first real threat. "To the Vrel Confederation and all associated forces, this is Earth's final warning. Cease all hostile actions against Earth and her territories within 72 hours. If you do not, we will respond with every weapon at our disposal. We will not hold back. We will not show mercy. We will not stop until you are no longer a threat. This is not a negotiation. This is not a bluff. Courtesy ends here." The message went out on every frequency, every channel, every network. It reached the Vrel homeworld in 6 hours. Their response came in 12. It was laughter. The Vrel High Council broadcast their reply across the same networks. They showed it to the whole galaxy, making sure everyone could see them mock the humans. "The herbivores threaten the hunters," their speaker said, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "We have raided Earth for 17 years. We have taken what we wanted and left when we pleased. You have never stopped us. You cannot stop us. We are coming with a fleet that will darken your sky. Prepare to submit, or prepare to die slowly." Wu Jin watched the broadcast from the bridge of the Resolve. His crew was silent, angry, waiting. They had been waiting for 17 years. "Captain," his weapons officer said quietly, "the new systems are loaded and ready. Everything Commander Yunbi sent us. The ship feels different. Heavier." Wu Jin nodded. The Resolve had been a destroyer designed for defense. Now it was something else, something dangerous. "How long until the deadline expires?" he asked. 68 hours, sir." Across the solar system, Earth's fleet moved into new positions, not defensive positions, attack positions. The orbital platforms powered up for the first time, their railguns charging. The mines deployed in patterns that would trap entire fleets. The hunter drones woke up, their AI systems running combat simulations. Engineer Sang Woo worked without sleep, making sure every weapon was perfect. He had designed most of them, built them with his own hands, and never thought he would see them used. Now he triple-checked every system because when they fired, they had to work. Earth would only get 1 chance to prove itself. Admiral Taemin barely left the command center. He reviewed deployment plans, ran battle simulations, and prepared for every possible scenario. The Vrel would come. They always did. But this time would be different. Dr. Hyojin monitored the galactic networks. She watched other species react to Earth's warning. Some laughed like the Vrel. Others stayed quiet, waiting to see what would happen. A few, The ones who had been victims themselves sent quiet messages of support. They hoped Earth was serious. They hoped someone would finally fight back. The 72 hours crawled past. Earth held its breath. Families evacuated from orbital stations. Ships positioned themselves. Weapons locked onto projected jump coordinates. Everyone waited. The deadline passed at 14 Ta Universal Time on a Tuesday. For 6 hours, nothing happened. Some people began to hope the Vrel had listened, that maybe the warning had worked. Then the sensors lit up. Jump signatures, massive ones, appearing at the edge of Earth's defensive sphere. Not the usual raiding party. A fleet. The Vrel had brought everything. "Count?" Taemin asked. 73 ships, sir. 15 cruisers, 42 destroyers, 16 support vessels. Twice their normal rating strength. Wu Jin's voice came over the command channel. "Admiral, they're not even trying to hide. They're coming straight in, weapons already charging. They expect us to run." Taemin looked at the display showing Earth's fleet. Smaller in number, but positioned perfectly. Every weapon ready. Every ship waiting for his word. He thought about the families on Jakarta. The 300 people who died while he followed orders to be gentle. The 17 years of restraint. "All ships," he said, his voice calm and cold. "Fire everything." And Earth went to war. The Vrel fleet advanced in their standard formation, weapons charged and shields at maximum. Commander Thane stood on his flagship bridge, confident and pleased. 73 ships against Earth's pathetic defensive force. This would be quick, brutal, final. "Deploy boarding teams once we break their orbital stations," he ordered. "I want their manufacturing facilities intact. Kill anyone who resists, enslave the rest." His tactical officer nodded. "Sir, the human fleet is moving. They're not retreating." Thane's mandibles clicked with amusement. "Of course not. They'll make their usual defensive stand, disable a few of our fighters, then run when we press hard. Let them come." What happened next would be studied by every military academy in the galaxy for the next 100 years. The first salvo came from weapons the Vrel didn't know existed. 200 railgun platforms fired simultaneously, their projectiles moving at speeds that made conventional shields useless. The shots weren't spread across the fleet. They were concentrated, all 200 targeting Thane's flagship. The massive Vrel cruiser, pride of their confederation, lasted 4 seconds. Its shields collapsed under the first 50 impacts. The next 50 punched through the hull. The final 100 turned the interior into a debris field. Thane had one moment to realize how badly he had miscalculated, then he was gone. "What in the name of—" a Vrel captain started to say. Then his cruiser exploded too. Earth's fleet wasn't defending. They were hunting. Wu Jin smiled coldly as the Resolve unleashed its full arsenal for the first time. Missiles that tracked targets through evasive maneuvers, energy beams that cut through hulls like knives through paper, and the quantum disruption mines, invisible until they activated, turning Vrel shields into useless energy drains. "Target their cruisers first," he ordered. "I want their command structure gone in the first 5 minutes." His crew worked with practiced efficiency. Years of defensive fighting had made them experts at ship handling and targeting. Now they used those skills without holding back. 3 Vrel cruisers died in the first minute, 5 more in the second. The hunter-killer drones launched from hidden bays throughout the solar system. 20,000 of them, each the size of a small car, moving faster than any manned fighter. They didn't fly in straight lines or predictable patterns. Their AI coordination was perfect, learning from each other in real time, adapting to every Vrel defense. A Vrel destroyer tried to shoot them down with its point defense systems. It destroyed 6 drones. The other 200 assigned to that ship simply adjusted their approach vectors and came from different angles. The destroyer's engines exploded. Its weapons went offline. It drifted, helpless, as more drones moved on to the next target. Admiral Tae-min watched from the command center, his face calm but his eyes intense. 17 years of planning, 17 years of simulations and preparations. It was all playing out exactly as designed. "Status?" he asked. 15 Vrel cruisers destroyed, 7 disabled, 28 destroyers out of action. Their fleet cohesion is collapsing. They're trying to retreat. Don't let them. This was the crucial part. The Vrel had to learn that attacking Earth had consequences, real ones. If even one ship escaped to tell others that Earth was still soft, still merciful, this would all be for nothing. The relativistic kill platforms activated. These were Earth's cruelest weapons, designed by engineer Sang-woo during a particularly dark period after the Melbourne massacre. They were simple in concept. Calculate a target's jump coordinates. Fire a projectile at 90% light speed at those coordinates. The projectile arrives before the light showing it was fired. The target never sees it coming. 6 Vrel destroyers jumped away, thinking they had escaped. They materialized in what they thought was safe space. The relativistic projectiles were already there, waiting. The impacts released more energy than nuclear weapons. There were no survivors. There was barely debris. "Broadcast to the remaining Vrel ships," Tae-min ordered. "Surrender and you live. Run and you die. Fight and you die faster." Dr. Haijin sent the message. She kept her voice level, professional, as if she was discussing the weather instead of the destruction of an entire fleet. 30 Vrel ships, what remained of their force, powered down their weapons and shields. They surrendered. The battle had lasted 15 minutes. Earth's casualties: 2 frigates damaged by lucky shots, 0 ships destroyed, 43 personnel wounded. 2 killed when a damaged Vrel destroyer exploded too close to a patrol craft. Vrel casualties: 43 ships destroyed, 30 ships captured, 0 ships escaped. Estimated 70,000 Vrel dead. The galaxy had been watching. They always watched human battles, finding it amusing to see the peaceful species struggle. This time was different. This time they saw what humanity had been hiding. Communications flooded in from hundreds of species. Confusion, fear, demands for explanation. The Morvan, a species that had been bullied by the Vrel for decades, sent a simple message: "Thank you." Other predator species sent different messages. Threats, warnings, demands that Earth explain itself. They were scared, and scared predators were dangerous. Wu Jin boarded one of the captured Vrel ships personally. The surviving crew were in their holding areas, shocked and defeated. A Vrel officer looked at him with all 4 eyes wide. "You were always this strong?" the Vrel asked. "All this time?" "Yes," Wu Jin said simply. "Then why didn't you fight back before? We killed so many of you. We took so much. You could have stopped us at any time." Wu Jin was quiet for a moment. "We wanted you to learn. We wanted to show the galaxy that intelligence means choosing peace. That civilization means restraint. We hoped you would see our example and change. And now? Now we've learned our lesson instead. The galaxy doesn't value peace. It values strength. You mistook our kindness for weakness. That was your fatal error." The Vrel officer looked away. "What happens to us?" "You'll be tried for war crimes. The ones who killed civilians will be executed. The rest will serve sentences working to rebuild what you destroyed. You'll spend years fixing the damage you caused. And when you're finally free, you'll go home and tell everyone what happens when you attack Earth." Back at the command center, Admiral Tae-min prepared for the next phase. The battle was over, but the real work was beginning. Earth had revealed itself. There was no going back to being the peaceful, harmless species. Everything had changed. "Sir," the communications officer said, "the Galactic Assembly is demanding we attend an emergency session. They want answers." "Send Ambassador Ji-won," Tae-min replied. "Tell them Earth will explain exactly once, After that, we're done justifying ourselves. Dr. Hyojin appeared at his side. The galactic networks are exploding with analysis. Everyone's recalculating Earth's threat assessment. We're no longer listed as safe to exploit. What are we listed as? She showed him the screen. Earth's new classification made her smile, something she hadn't done in years. Maximum threat when provoked, engage at existential risk. Taemin nodded slowly. Good. Let them be afraid. Fear teaches respect better than kindness ever did. Outside the command center, Earth's fleet began collecting the debris. Ships that had been designed for defense were now proven weapons of war. The hunter drones returned to their bays, their AI systems already analyzing the battle data, learning, improving. The railgun platforms stayed powered up, ready. The 72-hour warning had expired. Courtesy had ended. And the galaxy was learning what that meant. In the wreckage of the Vrel flagship, searchers found Thane's final transmission, sent in the moment before his ship died. It was just 3 words, broadcast to the Vrel homeworld: "We were wrong." Earth didn't need to send another warning. The message was clear in the debris field, in the captured ships, in the silence where a fleet had been. Humanity had been patient. Humanity had been kind. Humanity had tried peace. Now humanity was done trying. 3 months after the Battle of Luna's Shadow, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. Earth's victory had been total, brutal, and broadcast on every major network. The species that had considered humans weak prey were now recalculating everything they thought they knew. The Vrel Confederation refused to accept reality. Their Council of Elders, safe in their fortified homeworld, called the defeat a fluke, a lucky strike. They began assembling another fleet, larger than before, calling in favors from allied species and hiring mercenaries from across 3 sectors. "They think we got lucky once," Ambassador Jiwan said, reading the intelligence reports in her office. "They're going to try again." Admiral Tae-min sat across from her, looking older than he had 3 months ago. Winning the battle had been easy compared to managing the aftermath. "Let them come. We'll be ready." Or, Jiwan said slowly, "We don't wait for them to come to us." That was new thinking for Earth. Defensive operations were familiar. Offensive campaigns into enemy territory were something else entirely. But the old rules were gone now, burned away in 15 minutes of railgun fire. Commander Dae-hyun was given the assignment. He was older than Woo Jin, more experienced, and had spent his career planning operations that Earth would never authorize. Now those plans came out of their classified folders and became real. "The Vrel military shipyard at Kellis Prime," he briefed the strike force. "It's where they build their cruisers. Destroy it, and their ability to wage war drops by 70%. The yard is defended by orbital platforms, 3 patrol fleets, and a planetary shield network." His officers looked at the tactical display. The defenses were impressive by galactic standards. 6 months ago, attacking such a target would have been suicide. "We go in 3 waves, Dae-hyun continued. "First wave, hunter drones to eliminate patrol ships and disable platforms. Second wave, railgun strikes on shield generators. Third wave, marine insertion to destroy the construction facilities from inside. We'll be in and out in 4 hours. Lieutenant Yuna, promoted after her role in delivering Earth's warning, was assigned to communications. "What about civilians?" she asked. "The shipyard has worker housing, families." "We evacuate them first. Send warnings, give them time to leave. We're not the Vrel. We don't kill people who aren't fighting us." Dae-hyun's voice was hard. "But anyone who stays and resists dies. Make sure the warning is very clear about that." The strike force jumped into Vrel territory 2 weeks later. They arrived in Kellis Prime's system, and Yuna broadcast the warning immediately. "Attention, Kellis Prime Shipyard. This facility will be destroyed in 6 hours. All civilian personnel must evacuate immediately. Any military forces that engage Earth's fleet will be eliminated. This is your only warning." The Vrel response was predictable. The patrol fleets attacked. The platforms opened fire. They had courage, Dae-hyun admitted. Courage and stupidity were hard to tell apart sometimes. The hunter drones deployed first, 20,000 of them moving in coordinated swarms. The Vrel had studied the Battle of Luna's shadow. They had developed new tactics, new weapons, new defensive algorithms. It didn't matter. Earth's AI learned faster. For every Vrel adaptation, the drones found 3 counters. The first patrol fleet lasted 12 minutes. The second fleet saw what happened and tried to retreat. The drones caught them anyway. The third fleet surrendered immediately, their commander making the intelligent choice. The orbital platforms were tougher. They had heavier shields and more firepower than ships. But they couldn't dodge. The railgun platforms fired from extreme range, their projectiles accelerating to speeds that made interception impossible. 23 platforms became debris clouds. The rest went offline, their crews evacuating in escape pods. Most of the civilian workers had already fled. A few stayed, either brave or foolish. They learned the difference when the Marines landed. Earth's ground forces had the same technological advantage as the fleet. Better armor, better weapons, better training. The Vrel security forces tried to stop them. It went poorly. Engineer Sang-woo had designed special charges for this operation, precision explosives that would destroy manufacturing equipment without damaging the surrounding infrastructure. He watched remotely as his creations turned 200 years of Vrel shipbuilding capability into scrap metal. "Facility destroyed," Dae-hyun reported. "All Earth forces withdrawing. Total operation time, 4 hours, 17 minutes. Casualties, 3 Marines wounded, none killed." The Vrel Confederation's response was immediate and panicked. They had lost their primary shipyard. The fleet they were assembling would take years to replace. Earth had struck deep into their territory, destroyed a strategic target, and left without losses. The Council of Elders sued for peace 3 days later. Ambassador Ji-won reviewed their surrender terms from her office on the diplomatic station. The Vrel were offering a simple ceasefire. Both sides would stop fighting and return to pre-war status. She rejected it in 5 seconds. "Tell them no," she instructed her staff. "Earth doesn't want a ceasefire. We want surrender, full surrender, territory concessions, reparations, war crime tribunals, the complete package." The Vrel ambassador, speaking via secure channel, was horrified. "You're demanding we give up 4 systems, pay reparations for 17 years, allow you to try our military commanders?" "Yes," Ji-won said simply. "You attacked us for 17 years. You killed our people, stole our resources, and laughed when we asked for peace. Now you'll pay for every crime, every death, every stolen cargo container. We'll calculate the bill down to the last credit, and you'll pay it all. This is unreasonable. The Galactic Assembly will never—" "The Galactic Assembly watched you raid us for 17 years and did nothing. We don't care what they think anymore. These are our terms. Accept them, or we continue. We'll destroy every military installation you have, one by one, until you have nothing left to fight with." The ambassador's face went pale. "You're monsters." Ji-won's smile was cold. "No, we're the species you decided to attack. There's a difference." While the Vrel Council debated surrender terms, other species were making their own calculations. The Morvan sent a secret delegation to Earth, arriving on an unmarked transport. They had been victims of Vrel aggression for 60 years, too weak to fight back, too proud to submit completely. Their ambassador, Cross, met with Ji-won privately. "We want to buy weapons from you. The same technology you used against the Vrel. Name your price." Ji-won considered this carefully. Selling weapons was dangerous. It could destabilize the entire galactic power structure. It could start wars. It could make Earth responsible for deaths across 100 worlds. "Why?" she asked. "Because we're tired of being prey," Cross said simply. "For 60 years we've tried diplomacy. We've appealed to the Assembly. We've shown restraint just like you did. It doesn't work. The strong take what they want, and the weak suffer. We don't want to be weak anymore." Engineer Sang-woo was brought in to consult. He reviewed the Morvan request, then recommended a limited technology transfer. Defensive systems only. Shield upgrades, point defense networks, early warning sensors. Enough to make attacking them costly, but not enough to make them a threat to others. Unless others attack them first, Ji-won pointed out. Exactly. The decision went to the United Earth Council. After heated debate, they approved the sale. Earth would provide defensive technology to species that had been victimized by predatory civilizations. Not weapons of conquest, tools of protection. Within 6 months, 12 species had purchased Earth technology. The Morvan installed shield networks that made their worlds nearly impregnable. The Keller bought sensor arrays that gave them warning before raiders arrived. The Thren purchased point defense systems that made their cargo ships too expensive to attack. The galactic balance of power shifted. Species that had been easy prey were suddenly dangerous to attack. Raiders found their usual targets protected. Predator species started losing ships to their former victims. The Galactic Assembly, led by a species called the Dorath, demanded Earth stop destabilizing the galactic order. Ambassador Ji-won attended the session personally. She stood before the assembly, representing Earth for the first time since the war began. The chamber held representatives from 300 species. Most of them were staring at her with suspicion or fear. "Earth is accused of destabilizing the galaxy," she began. "Let me be clear about what that means. For centuries, this assembly watched strong species prey on weak ones. You called it the natural order. You built your stability on the suffering of victims who had no way to defend themselves. Earth was one of those victims. For 17 years, we were raided, robbed, and killed. We appealed to this assembly. You did nothing." A Dorath representative stood. "The assembly cannot interfere in every local conflict. You interfere when it benefits you." Ji-won cut him off. "You enforce rules when they protect the powerful. You ignore them when the weak are suffering. That's not stability. That's tyranny with a prettier name." The chamber erupted in angry voices. She waited for them to quiet down. "Earth is selling defensive technology to species that need it. We're not giving them weapons of conquest. We're giving them the ability to protect themselves. If that destabilizes your order, then your order deserved to fall." "You're creating chaos," the Dorath shouted. "We're creating fairness," Ji-won replied. "The strong will no longer get to take whatever they want from the weak. That's not chaos, that's justice. If you can't understand the difference, that's your failure, not ours." She left the session without waiting for a response. Behind her, the assembly dissolved into arguments that would last for weeks. The Vrel Confederation formally surrendered 2 months after Kellis Prime. They ceded 4 systems that bordered Earth territory. They agreed to pay reparations for 17 years of raids. They turned over their military commanders for trial. The surrender was signed aboard a human dreadnought, with Admiral Tae-min accepting on behalf of Earth. Thane's replacement, an elder named Vrel, signed with shaking hands. "Why were you so kind before?" he asked quietly. "You had all this power. You could have destroyed us years ago." Tae-min looked at him with tired eyes. "Because we hoped you would learn. We hoped that by showing restraint, by choosing peace, we could teach the galaxy a better way. We wanted you to change. And now? Now we've learned our lesson instead. Kindness doesn't change predators. Only strength does. You taught us that. The galaxy taught us that. So we stopped being kind." The old Vrel nodded slowly. "We should have left you alone." "Yes," Tae-min agreed. "You should have." 1 year after humanity's warning, Earth looked very different on the galactic stage. The planet that had been ignored, dismissed, and victimized was now a major power. Species that had laughed at human weakness now watched Earth's fleet movements with nervous attention. Admiral Tae-min stood on a beach in Korea, watching the sun set over water that had seen too many wars. He was retired now, his replacement chosen and trained. He had spent 40 years in Earth's defense forces, 17 of them watching his people die while following orders to be gentle. He had no regrets about changing those orders. He just wished it hadn't taken so long. A young officer approached, his uniform crisp and his bearing confident. Captain Kyung-ho was 26 years old and commanded a contact vessel in Earth's first diplomatic fleet. He had been 15 when the Vrel raids began. He had lost his sister in the Jakarta massacre. "Admiral," Kyung-ho said, saluting, "I wanted to thank you before I ship out." "Thank me for what?" "For making the hard choice, for showing the galaxy what we really are, for ending the killing." Tae-min shook his head slowly. "I didn't end the killing, son. I just changed who does the dying. Make sure you remember that." Kyung-ho nodded, understanding in his eyes, then left. Tae-min watched him go and hoped the young captain would never have to make the choices he had made. But he knew better. The galaxy was still dangerous. Earth was safer than before, but safety came with a price. In Geneva, Dr. Hai-jin opened the Institute for Galactic Peace. The name was intentionally ironic, something she enjoyed. The Institute's mission was simple: promote peaceful resolution of conflicts, provide mediation services, and establish universal standards for warfare. The twist was in the enforcement mechanism. Peace, she explained to the first class of students, is not the absence of violence. It's the controlled application of violence according to agreed rules. For centuries, the galaxy had no real rules. The strong did what they wanted. The weak suffered. That's not peace. That's just slow-motion warfare. Her students, drawn from 40 different species, listened carefully. They had all seen what happened to the Vrel. They understood the lesson. "The Terran protocols," Hai-jin continued, "establish clear rules of engagement: no attacking civilians, no total war, no genocide, no raiding for resources. Species that follow these rules are protected by the enforcement mechanism. Species that break them face consequences." "Who enforces the rules?" a Morvan student asked. Ye-jin smiled. "We do. Earth and our allies. We've proven we have the capability. Now we're using it to maintain order instead of just punishing attackers. We're the galaxy's reminder that actions have consequences." The enforcement mechanism was tested 3 months after the Institute opened. A species called the Vrax, distant cousins of the Vrel, decided to raid a Morvan colony. They assumed the Morvan's new defenses were bluffing. They assumed Earth wouldn't actually respond to an attack so far from human territory. They were wrong on both counts. Commander Yun-bi, now heading the Galactic Deterrence Force, received the distress call and deployed a response team. Not Earth's full fleet. Just enough to make the point. 3 destroyers, 1 cruiser, and support drones. They arrived in the Vrax raiding zone 12 hours after the attack began. The Vrax commander, confident in his 16 ships, ordered an attack on the Earth vessels. It lasted 7 minutes. When it was over, 12 Vrax ships were destroyed, 4 were captured, and 0 Earth ships were damaged. The Morvan colony was saved. "This is your warning," Yun-bi broadcast to the Vrax homeworld. "The Terran protocols exist for a reason. Follow them or face elimination. We've proven we're willing to enforce them. Test us again and we'll prove it permanently." The Vrax government sued for peace immediately. They paid reparations to the Morvan, joined the Terran protocol system, and became surprisingly well-behaved members of the galactic community. Fear, it turned out, was an excellent teacher. Ambassador Ji-won had been elected to lead the reformed Galactic Council. The old assembly had collapsed under its own corruption, replaced by a smaller, more accountable body. She stood in the new council chamber, looking at representatives from species that had once dismissed Earth as irrelevant. "The old order is dead," she said simply. "It died when Earth stopped accepting abuse quietly. The new order is based on simple principles. Species have the right to defend themselves. Aggression has consequences. Power brings responsibility. If you can't accept these principles, you don't belong in this chamber. 3 species walked out. The rest stayed. They had learned. The Morvan and 12 other formerly victimized species had formed the Free Species Coalition under Earth's protection. They weren't puppets or vassals. They were independent civilizations that had chosen alliance over isolation. They purchased Earth technology, trained with Earth forces, and contributed to the enforcement mechanism. Wu Jin, now Admiral Wu Jin, commanded the joint fleet that protected coalition space. His flagship was a massive carrier that launched drones instead of fighters. He had learned the lessons of Luna's shadow well. Smaller, smarter weapons coordinated by AI were more effective than traditional naval doctrine. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're receiving a distress call. A new species is asking for help. They're being raided by the Thorian Collective. They don't have the resources to fight back." Wu Jin studied the tactical data. The Thorian were a known problem, raiders who hadn't yet learned the new rules. They would learn today. "Deploy the deterrence package," he ordered. "Show them what happens to predators in the new galaxy." Lieutenant Yuna, now Commander Yuna, trained the next generation of communications officers. She taught them the importance of clarity, the power of warnings, and the necessity of follow-through. "A warning only works if you're willing to back it up," she told her students. "For 17 years, Earth warned the Vrel to stop. They didn't believe us because we never followed through. When we finally did, it ended a war. Remember that. Your words are weapons. Use them carefully, but use them effectively." Her students practiced composing warnings, delivery of ultimatums, and broadcast of terms. They learned to write messages that left no room for misunderstanding. The galaxy was listening now. Every word from Earth mattered. Engineer Sang Woo had become a reluctant celebrity. His weapons designs had changed galactic warfare. Universities wanted him to lecture. Military academies wanted him to consult. He refused most offers and spent his time designing something new. "Defensive platforms for colony worlds," he explained to a visiting journalist. "Automated systems that can protect settlements without requiring a military presence. If a species wants to live in peace, they should be able to do it without maintaining a battle fleet." "What if someone uses these systems offensively?" Sang Woo shrugged. "They're coded to only activate in defensive situations. Attack someone else's territory and they shut down. We learned from our mistakes. We're not giving the galaxy weapons of conquest, just tools for protection." In the Vrel systems, the occupation was ending. Earth forces had maintained order while the new Vrel government established itself. The old Council of Elders had been dissolved, replaced by representatives who actually wanted peace. The reparations were being paid, slowly but steadily. A young Vrel approached a human soldier on the street. "Is it true," the Vrel asked, "that you always had the weapons to destroy us?" The soldier nodded. "Yes. Why didn't you use them sooner?" "We wanted to be better than you. We wanted to prove that intelligence meant choosing peace over violence, that civilization meant restraint." "Did it work?" The soldier thought about that. "No, but we had to try. We had to know for sure that kindness wouldn't change you. Now we know. So now we use strength instead, and you're learning to behave." The young Vrel nodded slowly. "I think we understand now. Peace only works when both sides choose it. You chose it. We didn't." "So you made us choose it?" "Exactly." Captain Kyung-ho's ship, the Dawn, approached a new star system. First contact protocols were very different now. Earth ships arrived armed and ready, their weapons visible and their capabilities clear. But they also arrived with open hands, ready to talk, ready to trade, ready to be friends, if the new species was peaceful. "Unknown vessel," Kyung-ho broadcast. "This is the Earth ship Dawn. We come in peace and seek friendly contact. Our weapons are armed but will not be used unless we are attacked. We hope to establish diplomatic relations. Please respond." The alien ship, belonging to a species Earth had never met, powered up its weapons. Kyung-ho's crew tensed, ready to respond. Then the alien weapons powered down again. A transmission came through. "Earthship Dawn, we have heard of your species. We know what you did to the Vrel. We know what happens to those who attack you. We choose friendship over conflict. Welcome to our system." Kyung-ho smiled. "This is how it should always have been. Begin standard first contact protocols. Keep weapons ready, but stay friendly." His crew relaxed slightly. This was the new normal. The galaxy respected Earth now, not because humans were peaceful, but because everyone knew the cost of mistaking that peace for weakness. Dr. Hyajin updated Earth's entry in the Galactic Registry one final time. She had done this dozens of times over the years, watching the classifications change as humanity evolved. The old entry read, "Passive defensive, low threat, safe to engage." The new entry was very different. "Strategically patient, maximum threat when provoked, engage at existential risk." She added a footnote, making sure it was visible to every species that accessed the registry. "Courtesy offered. Courtesy rejected. Courtesy ended. Do not repeat this mistake." It was a warning and a promise. Earth would prefer peace. Earth would choose diplomacy. Earth would show restraint and patience. But if pushed, if threatened, if attacked, Earth would respond with overwhelming force and absolute commitment. The galaxy had learned this lesson in fire and debris. The lesson was permanent. Admiral Tae-min watched the sunset turn the ocean red and gold. Somewhere above, Earth's fleet patrolled the solar system. Somewhere beyond that, human ships protected allies and enforced the new rules. Somewhere in the depths of space, species that had once been victims were learning to stand up for themselves. It wasn't perfect. Violence still existed. Conflicts still erupted. But the predators were more careful now. The victims had hope. The galaxy had rules that actually meant something. Tae-min thought about the 300 people who died at Jakarta. The thousands more who had fallen in 17 years of raids. He wondered if they would approve of what Earth had become. A warrior species that preferred peace, but was ready for war. A civilization that valued kindness, but understood strength. He decided they would understand. They had died because Earth was too gentle. No one would die that way again. The galaxy had learned. Humanity had learned. And in the wreckage of old assumptions, a better order was being built. The sun disappeared below the horizon. Tae-min turned and walked back to his house. Tomorrow, he would work with Hee-jin on the Institute. Tomorrow, Sang-woo would show him new defensive designs. Tomorrow, Earth would continue building the galaxy it wanted to live in. But tonight, he would rest. The fighting was over. The courtesy had ended. And somehow, against all odds, there was peace. Real peace. The kind that lasted because everyone knew the alternative.